A 12-year-old assassin, and a solar eclipse are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is April 12th, 2024. It is the 99th day of the year. There are 267 days left in 2024. It is your 15th Monday in your 15th week and the 21st day of spring. You got 74 days left until summer. Today is National Zoo Lovers Day. Each year on April 8th, National Zoo Lovers Day encourages us to explore our local zoos. Each year, millions of people visit zoos and learn about the many animals that live there. Now, I'm a big fan of zoos. I always have been. I'm sure I've mentioned it before on this channel. I know a lot of people don't like zoos, like they're mistreating animals and all that. They do a lot of research too. It would be great if every zoo was, I don't know, as big as a city and the animals could roam free. That would be wonderful, but that's not the reality. A couple of my favorite zoos I've ever been to, the LA Zoo, went there too many times to remember. Oregon Zoo, I love it up here. San Diego Zoo is one of the best in the country. St. Louis Zoo is pretty cool. I've been to the Alaska Sea Life Center in Seward, Alaska. It's not really a zoo, it's more like an aquarium. I've been to the Philadelphia Zoo. That one's pretty cool. They've got this walkway and tigers walk across the path. It's pretty interesting, above everyone's head, like a habit trail for tigers. Omaha has a great zoo. It's the Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium in Omaha, Nebraska. That one's great. That's probably the best I've ever been to. There's a couple I still want to go to, I haven't had a chance to go to. Indianapolis Zoo is supposed to be great. I've heard good things about Houston Zoo and Lion Country Safari down in Florida. We used to have a Lion Country Safari in Southern California, like back in the 70s, maybe early 80s I went. It was great. It was interesting. All right, let's see what else April 8th has given us. 1895, in Pollock v. Farmers Loan and Trust, the Supreme Court of the United States declares unapportioned income tax to be unconstitutional. Now, what's interesting about that, unapportioned is kind of a strange word. I did a little research on it. It hadn't really appeared in English language till like the 1790s. Alexander Hamilton actually used it in a letter. It is an adjective. There's also a verb version, but we're talking about the adjective right here. Its definition is assigned as somebody's portion or allotted. 1906, August Dieter, the first person to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, dies. I had no idea it'd been around that long. I mean, I guess it was. Back in the day, they used to call it senility, I guess. I don't know. We used to refer to my grandmother as going senile. And, it could be Alzheimer's or dementia these days. So much goes into that. I don't even want to touch it because I know I'm going to get a lot of grief if I make one mistake on it. But yeah, back in the day, we just referred to it as they were going senile. Now it's so much more. It's Alzheimer's and dementia. And I used to tell a joke in my comedy act about my grandfather who had Alzheimer's and he used to be a boxer, which my grandfather used to be a boxer. I'd say every time the doorbell rang, he'd jump out of his chair and start throwing punches. 1913, the 17th Amendment to the United States Constitution requiring direct elections for senators becomes law. Now, this law had a couple different things that it took care of. One, prior to the 17th Amendment, senators were chosen by the representatives in each state. So like the state representatives would all get together and they would pick who the senator was. This kind of took it away from the people. The people didn't get to vote on it and they saw that as a problem. They really saw it as a problem because there was a lot of vacancies because state legislatures couldn't come to an agreement on a lot of different people. So it became a political tool. The 17th Amendment also gave the governor of each state the ability to appoint a senator if, let's say, a senator left office, died, indicted on something, or just quit. One case in particular, Illinois. When Barack Obama was elected to the White House, the Illinois governor, Waganovich, or whatever his name is, he had to appoint a new senator. He ended up going to prison because he was basically trying to sell the seat. Now, this guy had a whole bunch of other stuff, but the Justice Department complaint alleged that the governor conspired to commit several pay-to-play schemes, including attempting to obtain personal gain through corrupt use of his authority to fill the United States Senate seat vacated by Barack Obama following his election to president. He was caught on tape discussing the transaction and all that stuff, and they had him. They had him cold. A trial was set for June 3rd, 2010, and the U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald spoke out on the charges, characterizing Bogdanovich's, I can't pronounce the name, never have been able to. Anyway, characterizing his actions as trying to auction off the open seat to the highest bidder. The Illinois House and Senate moved quickly to impeach the governor for abuse of power and corruption. On January 8th, the Illinois House voted 114-1, with 3 not voting, to impeach the governor. But he was indicted in April of 2009. On August 17, 2010, he was convicted on one of the 24 federal charges. That was a charge of lying to the FBI. The rest of the charges the jury was hung on. They couldn't come to an agreement on it. Now, it went back and forth on a couple different things, but eventually he reported to jail on March 15, 2012. Actually, prison. I know some people, there's a difference. It really doesn't matter to the common folk. Jail, prison, whatever. He did almost 8 years, and then President Donald Trump commuted his sentence. He probably would have gotten out just last month, actually, if he hadn't had his sentence commuted. 1943, U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in an attempt to check inflation, freezes wages and prices, prohibits workers from changing jobs unless the war effort would be aided thereby, and bars rate increases by common carriers and public utilities. 1952, U.S. President Harry S. Truman calls for the seizure of all domestic steel mills in an attempt to prevent the 1952 steel strike. This would have been bad. I remember reading something on it because we were in the middle of rebuilding. The nation was doing great after World War II, and then they threatened to go on strike, which would have, brought everything to a screeching halt. 2005. A solar eclipse occurs, visible over areas of the Pacific Ocean, Latin America countries such as Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, and Venezuela. 2014, Windows XP reaches its standard end of life and no longer is supported. I can't remember if Windows XP was the one that sucked. Oh, it's actually Windows ME. I remember that one now. That was horrible. I just remember that program crashing all the time, and you try and play games on it, and it was miserable. Windows Vista was no peach either. 2024, a solar eclipse on April 12, 2024, today, is happening. A total solar eclipse takes place at the moon's ascending node, visible across North America, so we all should be able to see it. Premiered on April 8th, 2011, Hanna. This was a really good movie. I wasn't a fan of the series. It's a story about a girl and her ex-CIA operative father. As a teenager, she is taught to be the ultimate assassin. As the girl goes around Europe, a senior CIA agent is tracking her every move and intends to stop the girl and her father. So it's pretty interesting. This girl's living in the woods and being trained by her father, and she's just a killing machine, but she's a sweet little girl. Their position is basically compromised, so he sends her away, and so they can't find her. She hooks up with this friend that she meets that she never knew before. They just happen to meet each other. They become friends, and she starts traveling with the family, some cases hiding in the back of their van while they're traveling Europe. My favorite is when her friend still thinks she's a normal girl, and these 2 or 3 assassin dudes show up to kill her, and she basically beats the snot out of them and kills them. Then she tries to act all casual about it. If you ever get a chance, watch the movie. They had a series on it. I didn't like the series because I didn't like the actor that played her dad. He's a good actor, and I'm sure he does wonderful things. He just bugs me. Born on April 8th, 1974, Chris Kyle. American military sniper known for recording more confirmed kills than any sniper in American history. He wrote a best-selling autobiography, American Sniper, which was turned into a 2014 movie starring Bradley Cooper. In February of 2013, he was killed by a colleague at a Texas shooting range. I don't know why they keep calling this guy a colleague. Basically, he was kind of doing this program where he would take vets that were struggling with PTSD and take them to the range so they could start feeling normal again. The shooting range, I should say. And this guy decided to use the gun on Chris Kyle when he wasn't watching. Died on April 8th, 2020. Linda Tripp, former civil servant who became involved in the Monica Lewinsky scandal when she recorded Lewinsky talking about her relationship with President Bill Clinton without her knowledge. She was an Army intelligence secretary at Fort Meade. She was portrayed by John Goodman because this woman, I don't want to talk poorly about the deceased, but she kind of had a manly look to her. And John Goodman, even though it was a character and it was funny, kind of looked like her. Linda Tripp died after a brief battle with pancreatic cancer at the age of 70 on April 8th, 2020. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.